My name is Michael Kelly. I am an associate pastor at the Foundry Church. I'm also a chaplain here. Everyone calls me Hair. There's some chuckling. It's good. The name, like the stuff that grows off the top of your head. Yes, not like the rabbit or anything else. So, and I got that nickname because a friend of mine in high school looked at me and says, "Mike, you've got a lot of hair. We're just going to call you Hair." And I said, "I don't care, whatever." So, and they're like, "Why do you still call yourself that?" I go, "Well, let me ask you, how many mics do you know?" A lot. How many hairs do you know?
One. Over 100,000. That's just me. And they're all in my back, the name of every single one.
And my mom wasn't creative when she gave me the name Michael, and the middle name is Sean. So Michael Sean in 1976 was probably the most popular combination of boys' names ever. And the last name Kelly, Michael Sean Kelly. So I'm like generic name. I got another guy's mail one day, and opened it up, and there was a bill for a diabetes clinic that I've never been to. So and the other week, next week, I got his insulin. So I'm like, we need to send that to him. So, if you haven't realized it yet, I am unlike most preachers that you know. Most preachers that you know come up here, they have a nice pulpit, they're wearing like dress shoes. I've got my hiking boots on. Some of them are wearing sports coats and ties. As you can see, I've lost my tie a long time ago, and I never want to see it again, but I might have to. And
there's a joke there, but I'm right.
Thank you for not saying it. I appreciate it. And they come to you, and they stand in front of you, and you automatically assume that they know all the answers. And some of them act like they know all the answers. They have this whole Bible and this whole faith life figured out. If not, they've had a week to prepare to make it look like they have it all figured out. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. There are sometimes I come up here and I stand up here and I'm ready, and I have to present something to you guys, and I have no clue. I don't have the answer to the question that I've been struggling with all week. I don't always have the answers. You ever felt that way? You don't have the answers. But the thing is, I know where to get the answer. And I know how my job is not to give you the answers. I'd be cheating almost. My job is to help you figure out how to find them and how to start asking the right questions. That's why the Forge is a place where questions are answered. Sometimes I'll give you the answer. I have the answer that works for me. And other times, and the other part is where answers are questioned because you have been given answers your entire life. Somebody has given you a way to interpret the Bible, to live faith life, and it's either your parents' religion, your pastor, your priest, or somebody else, and you say, well, I don't know how that's going to work for me. Are those the answers that are for me in my life? It's going to work. In college, these questions, the answers that you've been given your entire life are going to be challenged. And if they're not challenged by the time you leave this place, they'll be challenged after you leave this place. And here is a chance for you guys to make a decision that these are the answers that work. And these are the questions I should be asking. I'm 35 years old. I'll be 36 in a month. I graduated college in 1999. I'm an old guy. And I still don't have all the answers. So, that's what we're here for. I started talking about faith and religion. And I have another topic I want to really get into tonight. But let me tell you my ideas on this. There's been an argument. There's a stuff going on under the surface in this place about where worship is going to be and where our faith life is lived out on this campus. And there's a difference between faith and religion. Faith is what you believe in, what you hold on to, what you trust in. Religion is how you work that out. So my saying that the phrase I coined, I don't know if somebody else came up with it before, but God gave it to me, says, your faith, your religion doesn't define your faith. Your faith defines your religion. The stuff you do doesn't determine what you believe in. What you believe in determines what you do and how you live it out. That's the cornerstone of my belief. That's the cornerstone of my ministry. That's the cornerstone of the Forge. What do we believe, and how do we live it out? That's what we're here for. That's what the Forge is all about. That's how we figure out how we live on this campus. Because faith is not, religion can be defined in one building. You can have your religion in one building and go there every Sunday. It could be that 1 or 2 days a week that you perform your religious responsibilities. But faith goes with you when you leave that building. Faith goes with you when you're sitting at home in your dorm room or at your house with your mama and your daddy, or you're in your dorm room all by yourself and your roommate's off, and what do? Faith is what you take with you to your rooms, your classrooms. Faith is what walks with you when you go from your dorm room to your classroom. Faith is what you take with you when you're driving down the street, when you're going through your first job interview, when you're eating. Take your faith with you. It's something you live out on a daily basis, and it goes with you everywhere. Because God is not just in this room. God is not just in your church buildings. If God was just in your church and just in this room, then that's a pretty small God. And I think my God's a little bit bigger than that. So, that being said, we're moving into we're starting a new semester, a new year, so I'm starting a new sermon series today. So, and it's called Image of God. So, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want some of you to respond to this question, okay? And then I'll give you my answer. It's a question that may sound a little blasphemous when I first ask it. Or it may be something that you thought about when you were a kid, or maybe you thought about it now. The question is, what does God look like? I'll phrase it another way. When you envisioned God, when you first heard about God, what did you imagine?
Okay, since you put it that way, honestly, Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia. Okay.
But I think Jerry's God. I just saw this, overweight guy with long hair, long white hair and a white beard.
Okay. Anybody else got an answer to that? When you imagine what God looks like, what do you imagine?
Light.
Light. Okay. Just like all light, no
Light
form, just ball of light. That's just everywhere. Okay. Anybody else got an answer?
Well, when I was a kid, I always kind of envisioned him as like Paul Bunyan, basically.
Paul Bunyan.
Big guy, burly, lumberjack kind of guy.
Yeah. Awesome. So I'm not alone when I've imagined God. And let me give you my answer to this question. Anybody ever watch Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
King Friday. Only much, much bigger. Okay? A giant King Friday. I mean, because I was told God is the King of all creation. He's the King of heaven. He sits on a throne in heaven. These are all images we've heard of that the Bible talks about, right? And King Friday was the king of the land of make-believe. And the only way you can get to the land of make-believe is on the trolley. So, you know the trolley king. Yeah. I love the trolley. I love the sound. It's like, we're going to, that's the only reason why I watched Mr. Rogers, so we go to the land of make-believe. And heaven was this land that was far off, and there was no way to actually walk there. So I just imagined that, God must be King Friday. Of course, I grew up, and I expanded my ideas. But, you get this picture of the long white beard and the long hair and the crown on his head. The image of God. We've all thought of it at one point or another. We've all come up with some idea of this is who he is, this is what God looks like, this is where he exists, this is what his land looks like. It's human nature. Why is it? And we're trying to figure out how that image of God works. Well, this is important because in Genesis chapter 1, if you have your Bible, open it up, read it with me. So it's in Genesis chapter 1, starting with verse 24. And the reason why it's important for us to know what the image of God is, or to at least have an idea or to think about it, is this. We know the story in Genesis is the story of creation, the story of how this world came to be. Genesis in 1:1 it says, in the beginning, there was the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. Now the Bible is not set out to prove the existence of God, right? All right? The Bible does not set out to prove the existence of God. The Bible was written with the assumption that God exists. And the knowledge that God exists. Because in the first 4 words of the Bible says, in the beginning, God. He already was. God existed in the beginning. And then Genesis chapter 1 tells us how God created everything out of nothing. That there was nothing before anything was. He spoke it into existence. He spoke life. He spoke animals and plants. He spoke earth. He spoke the seas into existence. He spoke, and it was good. And then Genesis chapter 1 verse 24 says this. Then God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures after their kind, cattle and creeping things, and beasts of the earth after their kind. And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth after their kind, and the cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps on the ground after its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing, everything that creeps on the earth. And God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Then God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on its surface, of all the earth, and every tree which has fruit yielding seed. It shall be food for you. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the sky, and everything that moves on the earth which has life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so. And God saw all that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening and in the morning, the 6th day.